All right, everyone. What's up? This is Peter. I'm the host of Podstalgic. It's been a while since I've done an episode. Usually we do movie reviews, television shows, what have you. But I what I like to do, and I don't do it often enough. A lot of us we consume a lot of content on social media, on our phones, and often these people they make us happy. And I do have one of my favorite content creators that every time I watch his videos, he makes me happy. So it was only right that I bring him on the show to hear his story. Joining me is Junior Kaleopa. How are you doing, Junior?
Hey, thanks, Peter. I appreciate you. Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me on, man. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, for sure. We're gonna basically this is kind of a deep dive. I feel like if people really enjoy what you work, they may be interested in hearing your story.
Yeah,
I feel that often, we're like laying in bed, sitting on the couch, sitting on the toilet, like some of your videos, and
yeah,
we're just scrolling, we're just scrolling through, right? And we watch, like the 15-second clip and then we move along. But like how
right.
often do you kind of get to know about that content creator? And I feel there not enough opportunities are maybe being offered, for
Yeah,
these people to share their stories and stuff. And I feel like you have some really interesting things to share and some things that people probably may not know about you. Um, so help me with the pronunciation. I know there's like Americanized um, pronunciations and whatnot, but
yeah,
your family is from Samoa,
yep,
right?
yep.
Okay, and were you also from there, or like are you? I know you're from Utah, so were you born and raised in Utah?
So actually, I was born in American Samoa. So
Oh, okay.
there's two islands. There's Samoa and then American Samoa. And
Did not know that.
then yeah, so I was born in a little hospital. I guess it's big now, but it's called Fanga'alu, and it's in American Samoa by Pongo Pongo. So Pongo Pongo is like the capital of American Samoa. So that's where I was born. I was only there for like 3 months, and then pretty much the rest of my life I was raised in Southern California in Anaheim and
Okay,
Riverside. Yeah,
so Utah, how long you been there?
I've been in Utah for like 6 years now. Yeah, so not too long. So
Okay, I have some family in SLC,
oh,
an
cool.
aunt that lives there. My cousins that grew up there, they're married and moved away. One in Seattle and one in Japan. So
Oh
um
man, that's awesome.
yeah, so that's really interesting about your family. One of the other things that I learned is that I feel like we're not too far apart in terms of ages, and so
Yeah.
like we may have like a similar upbringing. Like, were your parents were they like like disciplinarians? Were they very
Oh yeah.
supportive of like everything you did? Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
comfortable with sharing kind of like you growing up?
Yeah. So like both my parents are, we like to call it straight from the rock. Like Samoa is like a small island, and both my parents were raised there. And like my upbringing was like I'm the oldest of four,
Me
so
too.
yeah, everything that I did was like, hey, you're the oldest. You need to take responsibility, look after your siblings, and pretty much I got my butt whooped almost every other weekend or almost every week
Yeah,
or
yeah.
every week.
Are your parents my parents? Like I feel I had that same talk. Like, hey, you're the oldest. We put all the time into raising you, so
Yeah,
now it's your turn to help us out. I'm like, but
exactly.
these are kids.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
relate.
And
You can relate.
it's so funny because like just growing up and trying to, I guess, trying to be a good example. Obviously, being imperfect. Um, you know, I talk to my siblings. They're like, "Man, you don't know how good you got it. Like, I swear I got most of the discipline, and then you guys got like whatever was left over of my parents' energy,
Yeah,
just
very
causing all the
similar.
trouble in school and um, just like I wouldn't say I was like a rebellious teenager. I was pretty obedient, I would say, but I did do bad in school, like educational wise, and it's not. I don't know. I don't blame my parents because like they try to teach me the best that they could. I mean, their English is okay. I mean, it's still okay. We like to call them. I'm sure you know the term fobs. like
Oh
fresh
yeah,
off the boats.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there was a show called Fresh Off the
yeah.
Boat. Yeah,
Oh
so,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The broken English and stuff. It's still. I mean, I guess their English is better, but um, just really as a, I guess what would you call me, a first generation?
Um, I believe you
Or
are since you were not born in like the U.S. proper.
yeah.
Like I am like I was born in Texas, so like
Hmm.
I was born in the continental U.S. and the way I understand it is like our parents born in the motherland, let's call it, and when they come to the
Right.
U.S. that makes them first generation. So I'm second generation. I
Okay.
believe you would be
That would be
first.
first generation, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but pretty much like my parents spoke Samoan to me my whole life. And the funny thing is about like living in the US or in California, I never picked it up. I understand a lot of it. So I would just respond back in English. So if they like yelled demands to me in Samoan, like take out the trash, go take a shower, like do all those certain things, I just responded back in English.
Yeah, I know what that's like. I remember growing up, I feel as early as like second grade, my dad being very specific, like, leave the English at school. When you come home,
Mm,
you speak Lao.
yeah,
I'm like, okay, and then three siblings later, like my parents were speaking like, broken English to them. They
yeah,
have, become Americanized and have adapted the Western way of things when I
right.
grew up like the Eastern way of things. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what's going on here? Like, I was 18 and my dad didn't want me to have a cell phone. And then my sisters
Mm,
were like 17 and 13 and he bought them cell phones. I was like,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. I didn't get my cell phone until I was going into my senior year of high school. So,
yeah, that's about
and
right.
then all my younger siblings just like, man, I always tell them, yeah, you know how good you have it. I mean, just based on, I swear, like you can relate. Like we were the test
The guinea
test
pigs.
kids, right?
Like the parents
And
are
like,
learning how to be parents. And it's like, all
yeah,
right, well, I guess we're going to do what we know as, from our own parents. So that
exactly.
got
My
passed
youngest
on.
sibling, she she's just like got spoiled out of all of us. She never got hit or anything like that, and
What's that
she
like?
just, yeah, for real. Like no one laid a hand on you, man. You didn't even do any chores too. That's why your house is a mess. Oh,
Who meant the other sister?
I meant the other sister. The other, sorry.
You can fight
Oh
over
man.
which one they think you're talking about. Um, So yeah, there is definitely an important issue. I kind of want to go in some sort of order, like chronologically in your life.
Yeah.
At some point, so what I know about like Islanders, like, they're very talented, in music, whether it's playing an instrument or singing and dancing and all these different things. You obviously dance in your videos as well, and
Hmm.
you're singing along to the tune, but we don't hear your voice. One
Hmm.
thing, like with my little bit of research, I was a little surprised to find out about you because I didn't see it anywhere else, but you played volleyball
Hmm.
in school.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
tell me about the decision to play. That was for college, right? You played volleyball in college.
Yep. Played volleyball in college. Actually played. So growing up, I played baseball. Like I was in baseball for quite a few of my youngest years in Anaheim, and then transitioned to football, and then fell in love with volleyball pretty quickly at a very young age. Like never played it organized until probably my sophomore year of high school. Um, how I fell in love with the sport, I actually was ditching class. Um,
Hmm, interesting.
I was ditching class one day at school, and I walked into the gym because I know the PE teacher really well, and he let all of the kids that wanted to ditch play in his class or participate in his class. But I thought the class was going on actually, and I walked into the gym and I found like there was a volleyball net set up, and I was like, "Oh snap, this is dope!" And one of the coaches was just like playing around, whatnot, and like helping the players get ready. And then I was like, "What? We have freaking volleyball at our high school?" I mean, I knew there was volleyball in Southern California, but I didn't know to the extent that it was organized volleyball. So I went up to the coach, hey, I want to try out. Like, how do I become a part of the team? And then, long story short, like I started playing on the team. I started, I had a natural ability to just play the sport because I obviously like with my cousins and stuff, they all played volleyball too, and that attracted me to just wanting to get better. So I had the natural ability of like actually adapting to the organized sport, and it was fun. It was great. Like it taught me good traits like teamwork and leadership and whatnot, and just participating and being a good person. And that honestly, like that sport really, it like helped me get better at school. I mean, I graduated with like a 2.5
Sounds passing.
GPA. I mean, it's a 2.0 is passing, but um, like that sport like really helped me wanting to get better education because if I didn't get good grades, then I wouldn't be able to play. So that was like kind of my motivation towards that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's awesome.
yeah, so volleyball has been a really great part of my life in sports. So that yeah, it's been great.
I like that a lot because like as an athlete, you're able to kind of use like similar skill sets and apply it
Hmm.
to the different sports. But with volleyball, I feel that's probably the most unique out of like football and baseball. You're jumping, which is
Hmm.
not something you're used to with the other two, unless you're like leaping and tackling and what have you,
Right.
and using your body. This one is using your body in a certain way, and that's really awesome. And so. So you said like it sounds like the transition was pretty easy, but like what about the training and like the beginning of that journey?
Oh, like conditioning and stuff
Yeah,
it was
conditioning. Great
probably
word.
like really really hard at first. I mean, I would say football, like I got used to the conditioning because I was already playing football beforehand, but like like you said before, jumping, plyometrics, man, I already had a pretty good vertical before, but getting into exercises and conditioning with the volleyball team really amplified that. Um, so like I would say in high school, I probably was like 30, 36 to 37, probably 38-inch vertical. It's pretty high. I mean, I'm only 6 feet tall.
Holy,
So,
I'm a lot shorter than that.
um, yeah, so like a lot of the players that played volleyball are usually 6'4" or higher. So I had to like, as an outside hitter, so that was my position. I had to like, okay, if I'm gonna play this position, I'm gonna have to jump high and get over these tall players. So me and my brother at the time were just dedicating ourselves to be better players and, you know, going through the conditioning and making sure that we're in shape. And I wouldn't say we necessarily ate the best food for nutrition because I mean, in high school, who eats like who diets? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
everyone's on.
right.
We were headed to Jack in the Box right after.
I don't
Right
think
after
kale was a thing yet in high school for me,
yeah, yeah,
eating
yeah,
salad, because it's healthier. That wasn't a thing, it was a blind spot for me.
yeah. Our metabolism at that age, at teenagers, like it just go just whatever. So,
Well, I was already a skinny dude like in high school, and I enlisted into the army my senior year. I went
oh
away
wow,
for basic training, AIT, and then I came back home. I forgot the time frame, and I think it was one of my cousins who was like, Aren't you like supposed to come back like bigger?" I'm like, "Well, dude, I got toned. I got like 5 pounds more muscle."
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
anyway, yeah. So I understand the fast metabolism. So, this may or may not be related, and I'm only kind of looking at like the time frame based on like what you have posted. It appears that your Instagram you created just almost a year ago. So like happy early anniversary for that
Oh
account.
yeah, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so like TikTok is a blind spot for me. Like I have it because podcast and content creating. So I have that but I don't know what to do with it. I don't get on
Right.
it. I forget that I have one. So I've only seen your stuff on the Instagram. Um,
Mhm.
did you start on TikTok first and then transitioned over? I don't really know that answer.
Like with TikTok, I actually just so I had an Instagram a long time ago, and I started that in college, really. Like some of my friends were like, "Hey, do you have Instagram?" And that's when it like first kind of came out,
Mhm.
and I was like, "No, what is that?" Like, I just have Facebook, or I still have my MySpace profile.
Were you
um,
ever on Asian Avenue?
no, no, no.
You just missed that era, I guess, of Asian Avenue. Have you heard of that at all? Asian
Uh-uh.
Avenue. Asian Avenue was like it was like before MySpace, and
Mm,
like if you remember like early Kanye music, he referenced like Black Planet.
hmm.
That's the
I
like
know Black
the
Planet. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Asian Avenue was the Asian version of Black Planet, and Mi Gente was
Oh,
for the Latinx community. You know. Yeah, so that's
oh,
kind of interesting
gotcha.
that you knew Black Planet but not Asian Avenue. They're the same.
Yeah.
You go on the interface, it's like, oh, okay, they just have a different name for each community.
Huh.
So
Interesting. Yeah,
so
just like I was saying, like Instagram.
mm,
I didn't start till like college, and then I had that profile for a long time. And if I last remember, I think my followers was like at 950 people, and I decided to like delete it when I was probably like 25 or something, and I was like, I'm not using it, right? And then long story short, so it's fast forward. Um, like I have all these ideas. I have ADHD, so I have all these ideas just racing through my mind. Like, and I feel like I've always been a creative person just naturally. And my wife, she was like, "Hey, maybe you can like do some skits or something like that." Like I see a lot on social media. Like I think you're funny or even more funnier than these guys that you see. And everyone likes to follow a trend. I try not to do that. Like I really try to do my own thing. But as for TikTok, I know a lot of people are gravitating towards that. I just want to stick to just one profile, I guess. It's just too much to. I'm father of two, like I'm a husband, like too much to focus on, and I have a regular job as well. So I got to provide for my family. So like my creative outlet is just on Instagram, and from my friends and just random people like, hey, people are reposting your stuff on TikTok. Like you should create one. I'm like, nah, they're fit. Have them feel free because my whole purpose of my Instagram reels post is to like bring like positivity in such a like negative world that we live in, you know? So,
absolutely. Yeah, no, that's one thing that like I said, like I reached out to you specifically. Like I can count the how many content creators I've actually reached out on my hands just because it's like I guess I've never really committed either way. If this is something I want to continue doing, like shout out to Russ Gasson, the first video interview on the Nostalgic YouTube channel. I heard his, if I had a verse on, and his version of Twisted by Keith Sweat went viral, and
mm,
I heard it and I was inspired. I was like, I want to talk to more content creators, and so I just started a
yeah,
channel. And I was very fortunate that he said yes, and you as well. Like I saw your videos, and I was kind of keeping up. And again, inspiration. So you told me like what you had hoped to accomplish with your Instagram account, and
mm,
like every time I watch a video, it's nothing but good vibes. And I feel your energy is infectious. Like you commit. Like I kind of joked earlier about like sitting on the toilet and like hearing Aaliyah or,
yeah,
or something. Like you commit whatever idea you have, you commit,
yeah,
and it looks like you're having fun, and I feel people can see the authenticity like in what
uh-huh.
you're doing. You're enjoying it, and you're making people happy, so you got to really be proud of that.
Oh, thanks. That I appreciate that. I hope I convey that, and like that's what I really want to hear as in feedback from people. Like just this past weekend, we were at this Polynesian Days festival, And a ton of people have come up to me and was like, "Hey man, I appreciate your content. I relate so much to it. Like my teenager self, like all those songs that you posted, all the emotions that you're doing, like that was literally me. I got that like probably over 100 times this past weekend, and it made me feel good because it just tells me that like I'm doing something right, and not for the purpose of popularity, but just to like remind people of the good days when we were younger. And we didn't have social media. All we had like was MySpace. And I mean, YouTube just barely came out. Probably, what was it, 2000 or something? I don't remember. And it
It
wasn't
was
even really a
yeah,
platform to
right.
like for short form stuff that I'm doing, right? And our ways to express ourselves was actually like being in the room, like dancing in front of the mirror, like to Mario or like some Nelly type stuff, and in the 2000s era. And like, I don't know, it just
To
I
take it
just
back
want
even
to recreate
further,
that. Yeah.
I remember like during lunch in the gym, all the B-boys, the Pinoys,
Oh yeah.
Kenais, whatever,
Yeah.
they're all in the gym. They pull out that mat, that gymnastic mat, and then there's breakdancing, or
Yeah.
in the cafeteria, after like
Hmm.
most people have gone or something, or even at the school dances in the cafeteria. So
Exactly. And people battling.
different.
You don't really
Yeah.
say
Oh
that.
yeah.
You don't
Right.
see that
No.
now.
Well, they do it over camera.
Yeah.
They're
I
challenges
mean,
now, not battles.
like, it's just, it's so funny. And with the now, like nowadays, with the teenagers, they only can do TikTok dances, like no type of freestyles or whatnot. Like,
Right.
I grew up watching music videos like Amarion or like Michael Jackson, and like not even just trying to copy the movements and whatnot. But like nowadays, it's like there's like tutorials and stuff. Like there was no tutorials back then. You
Yeah, what's
you
a
got
tutorial? Yeah, you have to
I know.
like send in and get a videotape. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Like you literally are practicing while the music video is happening, right? It's just I don't know. Those were the days where like you really were honed in. Hey, I want to learn that move. I'm gonna like keep watching this over again and practice it at home, so I could take it to the dance floor
right?
and try
Exactly.
to school some people.
And people would know exactly, what you're doing. Like, I forget how recent it was, but one of the videos you did, I was all like guilty, and it was Instinct's Bye Bye Bye,
Oh yeah, yeah,
like that dance. So like and shout out to a friend of the show, Justine. She's a editor in the film industry, and she had talked about also learning the dance, and she even added that most people actually do it wrong because they're mirroring what they're seeing on TV as opposed to like understanding like the mirror isn't the exact way you're doing it, so it's actually the
oh right,
opposite kind of
right,
thing.
right.
So I was just like, yeah, that's right. Not a lot of people remember that, so you're just copying what you're seeing on TV, and so you're only mirroring the actual
Hmm.
choreography. You're not actually duplicating the choreography.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a whole
So when
thing,
you
but now you
actually
get
go, yeah. So if they're like, if you see them dancing in real life, it's literally like, oh shoot, I'm doing the opposite of what they're
right.
doing. I should be actually going left, not right.
Yeah,
So yeah,
so you should actually be having your back to the TV
yeah,
and mimicking them that way. Then that's
yeah,
more accurate. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's definitely a different time. So we're talking about like when you started your IG account, and um shortly thereafter, and you made a post about this, and I was just talking about you being authentic, and people see that, and not only are you authentic, you're also transparent, and about yourself, and you shared something very personal
Hmm.
about 11 months ago, and you found out that and you just said it too, that you have ADHD.
Yeah.
How did you come to maybe seek out like a professional opinion to get that diagnosis?
So yeah, like you said, it was about almost a year ago, that I just really wanted to hone in on that. Like why am I so spaced out sometimes, or why like when someone's having a conversation with me, it looks like I'm engaged, but I'm thinking about something else. And and like with my job, it's so hard to stay on task and stuff like that. And I thought for the longest time my parents were calling me lazy and like not wanting to do certain things. Um, and I was like losing jobs and stuff and losing relationships. Like in my post that I described of what was going on with me. And I was like, man, I'm in my 30s. Like I can't keep going with this and I gotta figure out something. So I posted on LinkedIn to on a professional stage and basically told my story. Like I'm looking for help. Could someone reach out to me before it's too late? You know, meaning like I don't want this to keep going and then all of a sudden like I get fed up with it and then I don't want to say this, but like it ends up like me taking my life type thing, you know? Because I've lost, like I said, I've lost lot of things over this thing. And finally, a therapist reached out to me in my DMs or just like inbox messaging. I was like, "Hey, I have ADHD. I have an ADHD too. Um, what are your thoughts on like meeting up with me this upcoming week or whatnot?" So I was like, you know what? I've tried medication. You know, I've done like working out and stuff, and I mean it worked to a certain extent, but you know, medication kind of changed me and made me not want to do things completely at all. And like working out was good beneficially, like physically, whatever, and it did help somewhat with my mental state, but it still like was a everyday occurrence. So met up with this therapist and he pretty much asked all these questions. And at the end of the session, he was like, Junior, you have severe ADHD. And I was like, what? I
Thank
didn't know that.
you.
Yeah, I was like, no, but I literally at the end of the session, I started crying because I was just looking for an answer and really like it helped me because I was having anxiety attacks. Like I was in and out of the ER multiple times. And I thought I was going crazy. But when the therapist just talked to me, he was like, yeah, you have severe ADHD. Like you have thoughts that are uncontrollable. And just by the way you've answered my questions, like we can get you started right away to help you, you know, control these thoughts, to help you stay focused more at work, to just basically try to be, he try to get away from the word normal again, because like you'll still have ADHD, but we'll try to help you be more functional so you won't be insane, right? You won't feel like you're being crazy in situations and whatnot. And I did therapy for like honestly 6 to 7 months and basically identified what triggered me and all the certain things that have happened in my life, like facing those things as well, past traumatic experiences and with like my parents and um, like I was sexually abused and stuff like that, and just getting all through those things and making the person I am today, and the fact that I'm a husband and a father, and like I love my wife and my 2 kids, and that's all I really want to do is like a part of that was getting better for them, but mostly a huge part is getting better for myself so I can be highly functional and not only that, but be present for them because my family is like my number one priority, of course. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I love that, and thank you for being so open and sharing that very personal story. Like we literally just met less than an hour ago, or like formerly,
yeah,
aside from the coordinating. My 11-year-old, he's the middle of five. I have 5 kids. Um,
yeah.
and he has ADHD,
Mm,
and we only found out he's just starting middle school, 6th grade. we found out, I believe it was in fourth grade. And what we were used to was just about like every first quarter of every year, we're getting an email or a call. Hey, he's getting into trouble. And we're just like, he's a boy, right? And it wasn't until fourth grade when the teacher finally, this teacher just, responds, yes, but like he knows right and wrong. But he continues to make decisions that get him into trouble. And
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of got us thinking like, and then we went through all types of medication, some that just made him lose like all that pandemic weight. He had gained weight from the distance learning, and some medication made him drop drastically, like 10 pounds. It was keeping him up late at night and unable to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that was hard as a family, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And I think this is, it's obviously hard on many people, but um like this phrasing is going to come out a little weird, but that's kind of where you're going to find out like who's really there for you, because
Right.
they now have to also rewire themselves to understand that you are wired a little bit differently yourself.
Right.
Like some of the things you were saying, like I've always kind of questioned about myself. Like I don't know if ADHD is something genetics. Like you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, like there's past trauma that you have had, and so I was just like, is it me? Is he getting anything from his mom? And like what you were saying, I have so many different ideas as well. Like I
Mm-hmm.
shared with you, I host 4 podcasts, but that's only now. How many did I
Right.
have, previous to that
Right.
it had ended, and all the different co-hosts that I had. And so like I do wonder, why has it been difficult for me to keep a steady co-host for like an extended period of time? And no one's really telling me like when we decide to kind of like go off and kind of do our own thing, no one's
Mm-hmm.
saying like, hey, like this is why, but I
Mm-hmm.
think most of these people I have met online, and so it's easy for them just to like ghost me,
Right.
and now I'm left wondering like, what did I do or say
Mm-hmm.
that made you decide, when I thought we were very close internet friends,
Mm-hmm.
that you have now decided to ghost me? So I have
Right.
a lot of those, unfortunately. Like,
Yeah.
but I have very close like friends that I have been friends with over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys will let me know if I'm out of line, if I'm an asshole,
Right.
and so I'm just like, if they can do it and they stay around, I may not can't be that bad of a guy. So what
Mm-hmm.
is it? So
Right.
is it like my mind is always processing different things, and so like I often have to postpone recordings, cancel recordings. It's like, is that being too much? But yeah, I wish I knew more, but
Right.
kind of it is what it is.
Right.
So, I don't know if you know this. Do you happen to know like the difference between like when we grew up, we knew it as like ADD, and as we got
Mm-hmm.
older, now it's ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously there's an extra letter there. Do you know the difference in the two?
Uh, s- so ADD is like attention deficit disorder, and then ADHD is like attention deficit um hyper like hyperactive disorder. Um, so I think the H is hyperactive.
Sounds
It's
right.
not
I mean,
it's not hypertension.
I know. We're
Definitely not
dads.
hypertension.
Sometimes we just make things up, right? Just to make it sound like
I know.
ADHD. What we got here, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Oh, see, yeah. So hyperactivity disorder. And it's funny because like when I was going through the questions and the therapist and whatnot, he was telling me like certain things that I did, and it literally brought all my memories back to when I was a kid.
Mm,
I was like, oh, that's why I sucked at school. And that's why my parents, or more my dad, was beating my butt a lot because, like, for the life of me, I couldn't even pay attention. And, like, when they try to talk to me and I'd be like fidgety or something, like, I still to this very day, I like very, like, moving my legs and stuff, like bouncing it up and down. Where I'm at, I'm like in the movies, I have to like move all the time still. And it just made so much sense. And like the anxiety of like feeling lost, it was gone as soon as like that one therapy session went through, and just getting to know myself and all the things that, you know, ADHD entails to a person and whatnot. So I wouldn't say I'm like, I feel better now, but I feel like I'm way better than I was last year. So, or just the
Yeah.
years before too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's important. It doesn't matter if it's like a difference in the month. Like you're progressing.
Yeah.
You're seeing, some
Mm,
changes, and that's, that's healthy on the mind and body. If your thoughts are clear and you're thinking more positive, like you just perform better in everything.
right.
Like, I have
Exactly.
self-diagnosed, like I have gone through depression. I've
Yeah.
been with my wife for 21 years, and you got to believe we've gone through up and downs.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, I think we hang our hat on like how long we've been together and say like our parents couldn't do it. They've been on whatever marriage, they're at now. And let's
Mm,
just, communication wasn't a thing for them, like in the old
right.
country, right? And so
Mm,
they couldn't, like my dad didn't tell me, to my knowledge, first time he told me he loved me was in a letter to me when I was at basic training. And
mm,
he wrote to me to tell me how much honor I brought to the family name at that point. When the last time
yeah.
we spoke, he was very embarrassed that he had a teenage son that was a father.
It's funny because like, um, the, it's funny you say that. I mean, it's not funny that you say that, but I definitely relate to that because I served a 2 year, mission for my church. So when I was 19, I went out to serve a voluntary church mission, and I didn't hear like I'm proud of you or I love you until like I came back from that church mission, right? Um, I think just in giving you more context, like my dad didn't grow up with loving parents. Like he literally went from house to house in Samoa until like his uncle like took him in and like took care of him. And then when he was the age of 11, like he brought him to the church and baptized him. And then his uncle, who like cared about him, died of electrocution in Samoa.
Jesus.
Crazy, right? And
Yeah.
so like all those years of just loneliness and just trying to fend for himself, I think a lot of that trauma was really taken out on me because he didn't want me to be like his parents, or like he just wanted me to be a better man than um, my dad was, or like who his dad was and whatnot. So like it made sense to me why like I was getting all the beatings and whatnot and lectures and all those things. But yeah, it's just like with me, I'm a pretty open book, man. I don't if someone wants to get to know more about me, like talk to me, you know.
The same way.
I'll give it to you straight.
Yeah.
So like there's nothing really to hide about me. Like I feel like I've been through a lot, and um my whole persona, my whole thing on social media is to like relate to people and that, hey man, Junior looks like he's still having a good time. He's like he's happy and with his content and stuff and providing these things all the while like he's gone through some pretty traumatic things. Like I'm not going to deny those things, but I'm using my platform just to relate to people and make people happy. That's the whole thing. So
And bring awareness.
yeah,
Like it says it in your profile, you're a mental health advocate and you want to share the story that can make the difference, that can help somebody. Like
yeah,
I'm sitting here and like I mentioned it, like I've questioned why I have ADHD. Like, is it genetic that my son has this? Is any of that for me? You mentioned
mm,
something about like moving all the time and whatnot. I remember in high school, sophomore year in English class, um, my teacher one day, like she was like talking to us and then like she stopped. I don't know if it was mid sentence or whatever. She just looked over to me and she's like, Peter, you find a new way to like sit in that seat every day, you know? And my the third the oldest sister, which is the third sibling, second sibling for me, she had the same teacher. And I believe I might remember the details, but I believe she told me that the teacher was like, "Oh, you're Peter's sister," and may have made a comment about me sitting, like finding a new way to sit in a chair. Like I'll have the chair facing the other way. I'll have the chair backwards. I'll be sitting on the desk. Like I'm always just I couldn't sit still. And like that's why I also podcast. It's because like I'm not a gamer and I love my music and my movies and I feel like I can speak with people about it, put it out there. If anyone listens and takes anything away from it, like that's awesome. That's great. And I'm just kind of do it for me, like an outlet to express myself,
Wow.
because I don't sing, I don't dance, you know.
Yeah,
In fact,
yeah.
I like to go clubbing back in the days, and that's why I love your content, because I love all the bangers and the bops, and I'm just like, oh man, yeah, this one, like one of the ones that I was a little surprised. I go, he seemed a little young to know that one about Groove Theory. It's like this guy did the Groove Theory. That's
Oh,
that's
tell me.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Love that song. 95, like Shy Guy. 95 was a great year
Yeah.
for music all around. So now you have shared about like um having ADHD. You started the Instagram, which we'll still talk more about that.
Hmm.
Something I did notice, like kind of doing my research, and you mentioned like being at a Polynesian festival just yesterday as well. It seems like you're
Hmm.
pretty active in the community.
Yeah, I would say so. Like I try to support all the like local businesses. Shout out Nothing But Grinds. Like those guys here is like a local food truck here in Utah. Those guys are from Hawaii and anything Polynesian. Um, I try to, I would say like give back by posting their products or whatnot. Because for me, like people are always telling, oh, you should monetize. Like that's dope. But like if I can create a platform to pretty much share awareness of like our towns of our people or just like people that are trying to make it in the world, the least I can do is just post stuff about their product or whatnot. Even if you're not Polynesian, like if you need help with getting your business off the ground, like if I could be a small part of it, awesome. I'm
Yeah,
not. I don't know. I just feel weird like taking someone's money for posting something that's free. I
yeah.
just don't know. I don't know how that works. So
I feel the same way. Like for years, I've always been like, no, I don't have a Patreon because like it'd be great just to make that like extra, little pocket cash or whatever. But like especially my interviews, like people are being generous enough to give me their time. I don't want to make money off that. But like,
yeah.
I was reminded like you create so much content. You've been doing it for years. It's like sometimes it'd be nice to just get some of that back in your pocket because like I'm in the hole. I've been doing this for like 9 years,
Mm,
multiple podcasts, and I have flown to different states for different opportunities that I've been given. And so
mm,
yeah, all of that is out of pocket. And so, I got a merch store and I don't like actively promote it. It's there if the people that really enjoy what I do and support me, they'll know how to
yeah.
find it.
Yeah.
So, tell me about this. I don't know like how involved you are. Like if it was just like a really cool opportunity that arose, but the Island City TV, you were able to attend the NBA All-Star Weekend this year, earlier this year.
Yeah. So a new like a news anchor actually. His name is Big Buddha. Shout out Big Buddha. He works for the local I guess news station out here. Um, awesome Samoan advocate for like just Polynesian businesses or whatnot. So Island City Media is actually out of Hollywood, California. And one of my good friends actually is the CEO of Island City. And he actually brought me along because um, of my content. And not only that, but just giving out the opportunity um, to the world, just like sharing my personality and things like that. He thought bringing me on would be a great thing. But we got connected with Buddha, Big Buddha, and he got us into the NBA All-Star Weekend, and we were able to see like everything from like
some really cool shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Got to
clearly
meet.
he thinks your personality is also infectious. Like I said,
Yeah,
so I see no lies here.
I'm the
Um,
I'm the type of person that doesn't get starstruck. So we saw like Grant
I was about to
Hill.
ask that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, freaking
Okay.
legend.
So if you didn't get starstruck, what's either the closest to what somebody would define as starstruck, or what was like your favorite encounter or something that you did that you were like, I never thought I would have done this.
Oh man, that's a good question.
Did you see Damian Lillard since he attended Weber State in Utah? Obviously a Portland great here in Portland.
No, I did not. I didn't see
Okay.
Damien. Um, like obviously ran into Grant Hill, ran into
I'm forgetting his name, but the winner of the dunk contest.
oh yeah, Mac McClung.
Okay.
So yeah, we got to take a picture, talk to him a little bit. He's cool, really cool guy. That's one thing about like what people don't realize. Like these guys are regular people. Like
Yeah.
that's why like when I go into meeting these people or whatnot, I don't um I guess I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, let me get your freaking autograph. You freaking won the slam dunk contest, Mac McClung. No, no, I wasn't even like that. And we actually met him before he did the slam dunk contest. So, um, yeah, I would say the closest thing when it came to meetings, man, that's so hard.
Well, while you're kind of thinking, I kind of want to share something, and like I hope nobody thinks like, oh, Peter's flexing, but like you mentioned like you don't get starstruck. Like in front of like certain celebrities, I'll definitely like buckle up and like, oh, I don't know what to do. But like having covered the show Cobra Kai for 5 seasons at this point, and having been able to sit down with some of the older actors that I grew up watching as a youth,
mm,
um, I forget that I'm one of the fewest, a very small percentage of people that has an opportunity like I have or had experienced the opportunities that I have. And so like I made a comment about a friend's husband who was with me at an event, and I was just like, because I've never really seen somebody like that that's not part of like this fandom that also know these
mm,
people. I've never been with somebody who appeared to have been starstruck, and I made a comment, and my friend, she reminded me, she's like, "Well, Peter, not everybody has like met these actors like you, so like, yeah, it's their first time." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right because like once they speak to me and speak to me like a normal person, like what you have done in the past and what I like thought about your celebrity." Like now, I look at you as like a regular person, and I feel that's why I've been able to get some of the interviews I have that other people haven't because like
mm,
it comes back to like being authentic and
right,
like I'm not faking like reaction videos out there,
right,
I'm like I most of my interviews are this very way. Like I'm
mm,
people may say like, oh, you need more energy. I'm like, well, that's not how I talk. I'm not gonna be fake.
right,
Like either you like me as a host or you don't. There's plenty of other shows,
mm,
and people I keep getting to come back on my show to interview, clearly they enjoy what I do, think what I'm doing is cool. Maybe they like my questions as well. I don't know.
right.
But were you able to think about something for the All-Star? It sounds like it was a really big thing. So
Um, yeah, I mean, All Star Weekend was pretty cool. I saw like a couple of players and whatnot, but like,
what about performers? Because like often there's well, it wasn't Usher, was it? Or it was who's performing at the halftime at the
oh, it was Burna Boy,
oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, and a newer artist. I know
yeah,
the
newer
name.
artist.
I might know one or two
Burna
of his
Boy,
songs.
Thames, and then
Not Timbaland.
Post Malone.
Okay, I know Post Malone.
Yeah,
So,
Post Malone's actually a great person. Cool story
that's
about
his,
that. Oh,
yeah.
Lil Jon.
One of
Um,
my first concerts was Anger Management 3, which featured Lil Jon and the East Side Boys.
So my cousin's actually a personal bodyguard for Lil Jon, and he was for Post Malone. Um, Great people, those guys. Lil Jon was able to always go backstage and just be behind him on the DJ set right now. So whenever he's in Utah, my cousin would just reach out to me, or I'll reach out to him if I see his story. Like, hey, you're in Utah? Yeah, man, come through. So usually I'm just there, mostly seeing my cousin because the only time we get together is like when Lil Jon's in town or I'm somewhere
Yeah.
he's working or whatnot. So he'll bring me backstage and I'll just try to have a conversation with him while he's working.
Because isn't
uh,
he like usually like hosting things in Vegas?
yeah, he's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
a he's got like a contract or something like that right now in Vegas at the MGM, I think. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah. So I've gotten to meet a few cool people. One thing that I would say like that surprised me was that Jamie Foxx actually follows me on Instagram.
Nice. Love it.
So when I got that following and he's like commented on my stuff, like Jamie Foxx is someone I really look up to because R&B, he's like the triple threat. He can act,
Mhm.
man, sing, like what else can he do? Like he's a comedian,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
he's fun.
I, I grew up watching him on In Living Color,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then the Jamie Foxx show, and then yeah, I
Yep.
got a few of his albums. I really love his slow jams. Um,
hmm
so you mentioned Jamie Foxx. Who are some of your other followers where you're like, no, no way, like this person follows me.
Kid and Play,
Okay.
that was one of them. when he when he followed me, I was like, or is this kid? It's kid. When he followed me, I was
Okay.
like, what the kid play? What the heck? Are you serious? That's
That's a
crazy.
Chris Reed, Christopher Reed.
Think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, think
yeah,
so.
that's right.
Um, who else? There's just a lot of blue checks.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
No,
just
J Janet Jackson or something, or
no. Oh my gosh, if it was, that would be an
Mariah
honor.
Carey.
No, I think Jamie Foxx is probably my biggest one, to be honest. And I've gotten some
That's a
like
good flex.
NFL players that follow me too. Um, yeah, it's been fun. And like I look at it as like, okay, I'm doing something cool. Like I don't ever want to. I never talk about like trying to boast or brag about everything that's happening. I just stay in the moment and be like, man, I'm grateful.
Yeah,
Just try not to be prideful, have it get it to my mind or whatnot. Because there's a lot of people that have way more followers than me, and that's fine.
yeah. I
Uh,
feel the same way. And I think if anything that I can learn from you is like maybe I can maybe even tone it back a little bit and be a little bit more humble and like I feel like maybe this is me I made up a reason for myself to kind of be okay with doing this, but like I'm very proud and happy of like my accomplishments and the things I've been able to do with
mhm,
my platform and the things that I've just the opportunities that has been afforded to me for the hard work that I put in. It's because yeah, I mentioned to you I got 5 kids, I got a day job, and I still find time to make content
right,
that's still giving me opportunities. Like I do that,
right,
like on the side as a hobby. Like, and I'm just wondering, like, what could it be like if I maybe not did it full time, but if I had more flexibility in what I'm doing, like how much more could I have done? Like right now, like of the content creators in the Cobra Kai fandom on my YouTube channel, I'm one of the like the least follow
mhm,
subscribed to. Like
mhm,
there's others that have like 6 figures, and I'm still hovering under 6,000. But a lot of my supporters, they often like remind me like, well, dude, you've had the creators on every single year. There's guys with X amount of times more subscribers, but they've never had the creators on the show.
mhm.
I've also been mentioned in Variety because of my podcast and all the
Oh,
the different
that's
type
awesome.
of people. I know. When I saw that, I couldn't even believe it. Like I wanted to punch myself. I was like, "There's no way that's me." But I was actually listed in top 15 television podcasts worth listening to. And they were basically saying like if you're a fan of Karate Kid or Cobra Kai, like this guy's had everybody, Ralph Macchio, William Zabka, and the creators. Like what more do you want, basically?
It's
So
legit.
yeah, just worked hard, and I'll send you this clip, man, that I'm really proud of. I was approved to work the red carpet in LA, like almost a year and a half ago, and William Zabka, star of Cobra Kai, he took a moment, to like basically the gist of it, and the phrasing that really stuck out to me is him like pointing at me and saying like you being here is important, and like he just thanks
That's
me for
awesome.
everything that I've done, with the
Yeah,
fandom and whatnot. So,
that's
so like
great.
I I think it's okay to be proud, and so like
Right.
maybe some people they're just kind of like Peter fatigue and tired of hearing it. I don't know, but like I don't know, man. Like I guess like like what we're learning about each other is like we didn't have like a not so great upbringing. Like we hid behind a lot of laughs, and other outlets
Hmm.
to kind of be so transparent as youth, you know. And so, like, I guess again with my accomplishments, I'm like, hey guys, look what I'm doing. It's
Right.
pretty cool, And so, like, I definitely have a lot of my close friends that like they really do think it's cool what I'm doing.
Hmm.
So, you talked about Jamie Foxx, following you as a content creator. Who are some, if you're comfortable sharing, who are some of your favorite follows in terms of content creators, TikTok, Instagram, similar to what you do?
There's one kid, I think he's like 19 or 20, but his ID name is Vibes by Tay, and he's just this kid like doing like 2000 stuff, and this kid was probably born in 2000
Right,
or
right.
2002 or something like that. So um, he's he's really funny, like very. I feel like he's very genuine and obviously a person that's really obedient to his parents, I would say, in terms of like the music that he's listening to, because he's like releasing disco, like he's doing disco music. He's doing music in 2000s, like R&B, hip hop, and that's where he's staying at 90s. I'm like, this kid has no idea what it's like to live in that era, but it's pretty dope to see, like, I guess his
Appreciation for like an
interpretation.
era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his interpretation, appreciation of like he's probably seen some videos or whatnot, and like he's created like he's got like 1.1 million followers,
Wow.
and he's doing a good job as a 19, 20-year-old kid. Like, and all these people our age are like maybe a couple of years younger than us are just commenting on like relating to his stuff, and it's so funny because like he never lived there, but his content like just shows like his appreciation for those eras or whatnot, just during
Yeah.
that time.
That's awesome. Like I do wonder what you mentioned like you think he was pretty like obedient and growing up probably, and I do wonder what the relationship is like with his parents because it sounds like he does have an old soul,
Hmm.
and like you make an interesting point that I feel like not a lot of people like in our age group have like too many content that is like pre 80s,
Hmm.
and I wasn't allowed to watch MTV until I was like around 13.
Hmm.
Like if my parents saw me watching, like the stuff that was on at that time, don't turn that off. You can't watch that, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so I was only able to listen to music from the 50s through the 80s. And so it wouldn't be until about 95, 90, 94, 95 is when I actually started getting into like the top 40 on the radio
Hmm.
and discovering groups like TLC and Boyz II Men, which were my first two CDs that I ever owned. And so like yeah so like my first love I tell people like oh, yeah I'm a movie guy but my first love was music, like
Hmm.
that brings a lot more people together,
Right.
just good vibes and music is always there for you,
Right.
no matter what your emotion is, like there's always a song that you can relate to that's
Exactly.
um yeah. um, so we'll kind of get close to like wrapping up here. The content that you create, if you're willing to share, like how do you come up with some of these ideas? Do you kind of start with a song first, or is it more like inspiration where like a random song will pop up and then the lyrics kind of get the ball rolling? Like how do you come up with your content?
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because like usually my content is it's like every time I take a drive to work or I'm with my kids or we're going somewhere, I have a Spotify playlist, and I feel bad because I say that because a lot of my most of my followers like, hey, I need your playlist, man, because you got songs that I haven't listened to in years, and um, I need to just release that. But anyways, like when I'm on these drives, when a certain song comes up, a certain memory comes up of when I was a teenager or like a certain situation or whatnot. And that's why you'll see like a lot of my content is like 16-year-old me or 14-year-old me, like acting like something, something, something. And it's really related to that particular song that comes up in a certain
Okay.
situation.
So you're actually drawing from like real experiences. It's not like a song you're listening to. You're like, okay, I was 16 at that age, and I'm just gonna do the thing where like, oh, when I was 16 and this song came on, like you're actually drawing from personal experiences.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
And again, I think that's why like it's a little bit more relatable as opposed to like, what can I do today that's gonna give me those clicks and those, those likes.
Right. I never think about that. Like
Yeah, right. I think it
now
shows,
it's,
man. I think I feel like you have a lot of drafts where you're just like I don't love this one to share. Like I feel like everyone you share you love, you're 100% happy with
mhm.
like the final product.
I will tell you, Peter, though, I don't have any drafts. I do the
Okay.
day I film the day of. I don't like most of them is one take. And
Oh
I just,
wow.
yeah, yeah. That a lot of people don't realize that I just do one take because like, for me, when you're filming stuff, like people want to see raw. Like they want
Mm,
to see like even if I do make mistakes, like a lot of mistakes, obviously I'll like redo it and they'll only be like two or three times. But mostly most of my stuff is one take. And just going off like my raw feelings, like of how I imagine myself in that certain situation, like at that certain age, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, that's basically like that's the truth of what I'm telling you. Like it's really on the spot.
I mean, that's awesome. And like honestly, I shouldn't be surprised because I feel like we consume so much content nowadays that you could kind of see like which ones are rehearsed. You know,
Mm,
like they missed a mark and they're like, ah, well, I don't want to do it for the 13th time,
right.
and so there's that. And then also like the improv, obviously there's like direction, but you can tell like, okay, well, they had an idea and they're just winging the dialogue and like this is what we got. Like I don't get that stuff from you. Do you have to tend to something?
My daughter just came downstairs.
I had that like 2 days ago. My daughter came in the middle of a recording. Do you need to get to her real quick or?
I think
Okay.
she's going to my wife,
Okay.
so we're good.
Let's see. The content. I believe the first video I saw of yours, and it was one of those like at a red light, and it was a Tevin Campbell song.
Mm,
And like a lot of the content creators that I come across, like I feel I am older than most of them too. So it's
hmm.
one of those things. And in your profile, your bio, you say 1990 with a baby emoji. And I'm like, this guy dude Tevin Campbell, like that must have been like 92, 93 when that song came
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
So like where this is crazy that I'm only just now thinking about this question, but where did that love of that genre or that era of music come from because you were born 1990
Yeah,
and like again you're kind of self proclaimed 90s like R&B enthusiast.
yeah. So like, um, I would say like Polynesian people, we love music in general, but I feel like we're more attracted to rhythm and blues type music. Like if you ever talk to any type of like Polynesian person, like they'll talk about like Brian McKnight, Tevin Campbell,
Mm,
Mariah Carey.
mm.
Like Brian McKnight is like my most favorite R&B artist of all time.
He's one of my favorite writers.
Yeah, that
Like him
too,
and
man.
Babyface
And
producer.
Babyface, yep.
Yeah.
John B. We got
Oh,
like
John B,
New
yeah. Pretty
Edition.
girl. Oh yeah. Man.
Boys to Men, of course, got to put them in there.
Really.
Yeah, John B was the first white boy before, you know,
Sure, sure, sure. I think
Robin
same.
Thicke and all those
Yeah, like
guys,
that
you know.
that song They Don't Know. I was like, yeah, they don't know. You're putting them
Hmm.
on, I guess. Like you're just
Exactly. Yeah,
doing those songs.
they don't know.
He's
And
got a great voice.
John B let them know. So,
Yeah, he sure did.
um, so
You
like my
gotta do
love
some.
for,
You gotta do something with Pretty Girl.
oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Unless you did it, I haven't gotten to it yet.
No, I have not.
Definitely a back catalog. I need to go back and check out for sure. I'm gonna one night I'm just gonna sit there and go through all your videos, just see what song. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's my love for R&B was just like, I think it just resonated with me when I was a kid because, I mean, growing up, we had what, cassettes? We were
Hmm.
listening to cassettes and stuff and the radio.
Are you rewinding
My,
with the pencil? Yeah,
yeah. And
or the pen? Yeah, the pen.
listening to radio, like a lot of 90s stuff came on the radio. And like, thanks to my parents, like I fell in love with like disco, funk, Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, um, just all those old school people. And then I think just that really transitioned me to 90's when I was a kid. And 90's was just blasting everywhere when I was a kid. So um,
And
just going through that, just
they keep reusing them in samples now. Like that
exactly.
we've kind of moved away from the 80's and now it's like a bunch of 90's that are being remade
Hmm.
or resampled.
Hmm.
So I'm digging it because it's also kind of a reminder, like, oh yeah, changing faces. Like, okay, I remember that song,
Right,
kind of thing.
right. And like 90's was special because there was still a lot of that originality, like especially with Babyface writing a ton of songs for like John B, Boys to Men, Mariah
They
Carey,
they weren't scared to be sensitive.
exactly. And a part of that vulnerability, like I want to bring back, you know, in social media, just just to show like men weren't always tough. Like we literally sang our feelings out.
Yeah, yeah, on your knees, on bended knee,
Yeah,
if you will,
exactly.
screaming to the the sky above
Yeah,
and all that.
Jodeci,
Yeah,
all that.
Silk, sure, Shy, all of them.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I grew up kind of similarly. I don't remember my first hug, and it was important to me when I had kids, specifically boys. Early on, there's no boys are better, girls are better. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter if you're smaller, you can still be smaller and stronger. Because
Hmm.
I remember my son, he must have been like 4 years old, and I forgot the details of the conversation, but he basically was saying, talking about mommy and daddy's stronger because he's a boy. Like, no, that's not true at all. Like just because mommy's smaller than me doesn't mean that she's not stronger than me, So we got to attack that early on with the especially the boys growing up because like the things you hear about like some of the boys when they grow up, it's just like, man, if we can just tackle some of these issues like early on, some of these boys they
Hmm.
don't become that way, and end up in the news and what have you, entitled and
Right.
whatever. But I kind of lost my train of thought with I was important to me to not be scared to hide my feelings with my sons. Like
Hmm.
I am not above like kissing my sons on the cheek, the younger ones on the lips, whatever. Like I'm dad. I'm gonna
Hmm.
embrace them. I'm
Right.
not gonna be ashamed of it. And just last let's see, what's today? Today we're recording on a Tuesday night.
Hmm.
So 2 Sundays ago, I had some family in town and I took my kids to go visit my dad. And as we were saying bye to grandpa, and I was like, all right, let's give grandpa a kiss. And they all give him a kiss. I go, watch daddy give grandpa a kiss too. And I kiss my dad on the cheek and I give him a hug. And like, I'm sure that must have been real nice for him. I'm, firstborn
Yep.
and, like we've all have grown and adapted to the Western ways and like,
Right.
there's an understanding now. So I love that. So I mentioned that we're going to wrap up, and before we recorded, I had teased that I have a game for you, and the
Mm.
people listening or watching at home can play along.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
so did you decide? Like I know I'm putting you on the spot anyway, but I said you could think about it during the conversation.
Right.
You game for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. All right, so listeners and viewers at home, the game is I listed every single year in the 90s, starting with 1990, ending with 1999. I went through and pulled up lyrics to a song from each year, and Junior is either gonna finish or not finish, but like continue the lyrics or name me the artist and title of the song. Now, do you want to do all 10 or just like you select 5 different years?
Ooh, let's do 5 different years.
5 different years. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do five. You pick the years, and I'll give you the lyrics,
Okay.
and you choose how you want to answer it.
Let's go from, I'm gonna try to do my best. 94 to, let's do 94 to 99. Is that
Okay.
what we're doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. 94, 99. So we're gonna get rid of 93. That's too bad. I got a couple ones I like there between 90 and 93. Not gonna lie. Um, you just
So
to
are you
throw one
going
out.
in order? 94
Ah,
or
you want me to, or do you want me to jump around? Make it challenging.
ooh, you can jump around. You can jump
Jump
around.
around? Okay, I'll jump around. Just to throw this one out. So this will be an example, right? So like a test here. I think I kind of explained it to those at home.
Hmm.
So this is from 1991. So I'm not gonna like sing it, right? I'm just gonna talk the lyrics, and you have to do
Hmm.
your best to try to identify it. So from 1991, Dream On, Dream Away. I think I'm gonna have to stay. Dream on, dream away. I think I'm gonna have to stay.
Dream on, dream away. I think I'm gonna have to stay. Uh, oh my gosh, I think I know this one.
Does it sound familiar?
That sounds so
Dream
familiar.
on, dream
Dream away.
away.
I think I'm gonna have to stay forever, right?
Just stay
I
forever. Yeah.
adore
Uh-huh.
mi
Yeah, you got it.
amor,
You got it. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I Adore Me More by Color Me Bad.
I color me bad. Yeah, I was gonna say, I wanna
Yep.
say
Yep.
you up.
There
Yeah,
you go. That was my first introduction to them. But yeah. And
yeah.
I only just watched New Jack City like a few years ago for the very first time. It was a blind spot for me. And like because that's also where Cash Money, like that's where they got their name, was from that movie. And Color Me Bad was also featured for the very first time in that
So
movie.
that song was actually like their music video is so weird. They're like I think they're like in an island or something, like under palm trees or something like
Okay.
that. So that's what like that came up to mind. And
Oh,
I was like,
oh, you were picturing the video.
yeah, yeah. Usually
All
like
right.
because how I navigate going places, like especially
Uh,
I'm from Southern California, I'll see a certain landline. Oh, I know where I'm at, like land
oh, that's
site.
awesome. Yeah.
I'll just go.
I don't
Yeah.
I
So
don't get that here in Portland, but California is much bigger, and a
yeah.
lot more filming goes down there. So 94 to 99 is actually six, so it sounds like you're okay with that. And I'm going to jump around. So we'll keep track out of six, how you do. But you already got that first one, man. I feel that was
Yeah.
a deep cut for you because that's again, I said, what was that, 1991? So like you were maybe a year old.
Hmm.
Um, all right.
I listen to a lot of 90's.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I believe you. Okay, so do you want me to tell you the year or because I'm jumping around? So you want me to just do the year or just do the lyrics?
Um,
Because I
do
can
the
always reveal the year, like if you get it too.
do the year and then do the lyrics,
Okay,
if that's
all right.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. You're in control here. Okay, from 1998, you're all that I've ever known. When you smile, on my face always seems to glow.
You're
1998,
all that
that
I
I've
ever.
known. When you smile, wait, yeah, on my face always seems to glow.
Oh, all my life, Casey and JoJo.
Yeah, yeah. Little underhand, right? So the other thing is this may I hope this is like a hint or a clue. All of these were at least number ones in some capacity from their
Mm,
respective year. So they're not going to be like any deep cuts really. So
yeah.
like if you are a student of the 90's R&B, most of these are R&B, I feel. Yeah, if it was a number one, I feel you probably have a good chance of knowing them. So
Yeah, all
all
my
right,
life, Casey and JoJo.
yeah,
That's a
so
song
many
that like
years.
everyone knew how to play on the piano. So
Right. Yeah. At least the intro. At least the intro.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Let's see. 1996.
yeah.
Uh, Oh gosh, I wish I wrote I didn't write the artist or whatever because I was all like, oh, the lyrics I will remember when we get to it, but I'm this is blanking on me. So maybe okay, 1996. Feeling knowing you wear me, it keeps me alive. Okay, nope, I got it. I got it already. Feeling knowing you wear me, it keeps me alive. I feel the lyrics might that doesn't sound right.
Feeling knowing you wear me.
Feeling knowing you wear me, it keeps me alive. Let me look this up again real quick. I know what song it is, but I'm like, is that right? Okay, so this is Vivo lyrics, and it is um what is it? Something bring me no no no, that's different. It keeps me alive. Feeling knowing you
Feeling
were
knowing
yeah.
you.
Feeling knowing you hear me. Sorry.
Oh, you hear
Feeling
me.
knowing you hear me, it keeps me alive.
Okay.
I think I was typing fast. So yeah. Feeling knowing you hear me, it
Feeling
keeps me alive.
knowing you hear me. Ah, one sweet day.
It's one sweet day. Yeah, yeah. Feeling, yeah.
Keeps me
Don't hear, it keeps me
alive.
alive. Yep, Mariah Carey. So
Yeah,
there you go.
Mariah Carey. Yeah, and
All right,
Voice
that's
to Men. Yep.
wait, so yeah, two for two.
I had to sing that.
Okay.
I was like, yeah.
Sometimes you
Okay.
have to. And that's why I'm talking it because it would be like at that point you just know it, right? Like if I kind of gave you a melody. All right.
That's true.
1995, going back one year. To me, you're like a growing addiction that I can't deny. To
You're like,
me, a growing addiction that I can't deny. 1995. And at the very least, the audio podcast, I'm probably gonna like shorten the silences since they're not looking at anything.
wait, can you do that again?
Yeah. To me, you're like a growing addiction that I can't deny. To me, you're like a growing addiction that I can't deny.
Oh, what time is that? What did you know when it showed? My eyes become Seal,
Yeah,
Kiss from the
yeah,
Rose. I
there you
wouldn't
go.
say that's night. I don't know if Seal is like a R&B person though.
He's probably more contemporary, you know,
Yeah.
but like that's pretty good. It's a pretty good song at the karaoke, not gonna lie.
Mm. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? Yeah, yeah. To me, you're like a growing addiction that I can't deny. Yeah. It's one of my favorites. So when I saw that was in that year, I was like, I gotta put that down. Yes, like I mean,
That
this
was a
wouldn't be
hard one
R&B.
because that had me
That was a hard
thinking.
one.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's because I was like, and then I was like, baby,
Yeah.
I could be.
So so yeah, that's why I was all like, maybe like R&B adjacent. Like there's definitely one other that like nobody would say is R&B for sure, especially because of the artist. So
Hmm.
um oh okay, so that was so you got three out of three. Let me see
Hmm.
here. Um,
I feel like you're gonna stump me. Like that almost stumped me. I was like, that, yeah.
it's pretty good. I mean, we got three left. So yeah, three out of three. Okay, so 1999. So this is the one that's not R&B. She's into
Okay.
new sensations, new kicks in the candlelight.
She's into new sensations.
hmm New kicks in the candlelight.
Mm,
And let me check the lyrics again too. Honestly, I came up with all of this before we got on the call earlier, before I put my son down. So while he was watching his Coco Melon, I was looking up songs from every single year.
she's into new sensations, new kicks in the
Kicks in the candlelight.
candlelight. She's got a new addiction. Okay,
Yeah,
living la vida loca.
yeah, yeah. Good job. Four out of
Ricky
four.
Martin.
Yeah, yeah. So not R&B, right? But hey, number one song. You were, almost 10 years old. So
You
doing good, man.
what was threw me off.
Yeah. Okay, let's see
I was
here.
like,
Two more.
new
Two
kicks
more.
in the candlelight. I had to
Yeah,
like
you got it. You got it.
sing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just love like seeing you process it. So like if
yeah.
you guys are listening at home, you guys at least go to the YouTube and like fast forward to this part. Gotta I like it. All right, so two more. 1997, take back that sad word goodbye, bring back the joy to my life. Take back,
Take back, kick back or take back?
take back,
Oh,
take
take back.
back that sad word goodbye, bring back the joy to my life. And I'm pretty sure I know it. I have to double check the lyric.
Oh, take back the sad word goodbye. Bring back the joy in my, Unbreak My Heart,
Yep,
Tony Braxton.
you got it. You got it. Perfect. All
I
right. So that's five
gotta
out of
sing it
five.
out. I gotta sing
Yeah,
it out.
and I love it. So that's a little something for your followers there. And so the very last one, okay, is that right? Okay, so I believe 1994 is the last one that
Yeah.
we haven't done. And the lyrics, and again, I should have wrote the whole info. Like the shadow that's by your side, I'll be there. Like the shadow that's by your side, I'll be there.
Oh, I swear, by all for one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, easy. I'm all like, wait, what? See, it's like me speaking the lyrics, like
Like
it's
the
throwing me off. Like
shadow that's by your
it's
side.
and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick the lines that like if I just read it, I'll know. But here I'm stumping myself too. Like, you guys, it's well over midnight, especially for Junior. But I'm just like, oh, what the hell? So yeah, 6 out of 6, man. Like there you go. So yeah, there's no stumping. I'm like low key impressed. Like I figured you'd get them all, but like under pressure, I wanted to see how you handled it.
That Seal one and the Ricky Martin one kind of threw me for a loop. I was like,
Because it,
I had to sing it though. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
And to be fair, like, kind of mentioned, Seal's probably more considered contemporary, like your Celine Dion
Right.
and stuff like that, and Ricky Martin. So yeah, man. Well, thanks for taking the challenge and getting all of those correctly. 6 out of 6, man. 100%. There you go.
Hey, thanks, Peter.
Yeah, yeah,
Appreciate it, man.
yeah. So like. Yeah, I follow what you do. Do you have anything like kind of in the works that you're excited about that you want to share? Aside from like just the regular content that you're currently creating.
Mm, um,
Like where do
so
you go from here?
I guess like I don't know, because I kind of had like a little dead spot for probably like a couple weeks. Not because of creator's block or whatnot. I just
You got busy
got
with life.
yeah busy with life. I mean, my number one priority is my family and trying to provide for them and whatnot. It's hard to like put out content consistently because I know that social media like Instagram wants to see consistent things on a consistent basis. But to be honest, I post on my time
Yeah,
and
that's how I am.
when people relate to it, and I feel like if I feel like a lot of people could relate to everything that I post out there. Um, but for those who are thinking of getting into the space, just do it. Like the worst thing that someone could do is say something mean or whatnot, but consistency is
Turn off
key.
commenting.
Yeah, like even with that, like consistency is key to everything in life, especially if you want to be creative in this space. Like be your own self. Don't try to copy others. Like it is hard um like not copy or just it's hard to be your own self, I guess. But that's what people want to see. They just want to see genuine, I
They want to
guess.
see they want to see people being themselves. Like they don't want to see a
Yeah,
copy, or a wannabe
right.
because some of those you can kind of tell like, oh, you're doing the thing that this other content creator is
Exactly.
doing,
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
and a lot of ones are like the husband and wife that are also both content creators that are dancing or something. And so like
right.
what I think is it's kind of toxic is like the fans up in the comments like, oh, you guys aren't better than this group. Like look, they're just being themselves. Like they're not trying to be
Right.
other
Right.
people. You guys are just comparing the people. So like my advice as a fellow content creator is just like if it makes you happy, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if like you see something you like that's someone else's content, make it your own, right? Like you don't
It's
have to
okay to be
completely,
inspired.
yeah, you don't have to be like you completely copy them, but like put your own twist and make your own. So it looks like, oh man, yeah, this is Junior or this is Peter. You know what I mean? Just
Hmm.
like I don't know, just twist it and do it like you see it would do it. I don't know.
So like I actually have this question down and I forgot to ask, but like with you kind of putting your mental health status out there and
Mhm.
as a content creator, like what are your kind of interactions like with your followers? Is that something that you kind of welcome? Is the interactions?
Yeah, all the time. I feel like when people message me, like I think it was a couple of weeks ago, there was like over 20 messages, and I usually respond to every one of them.
It was all me. Like
But I didn't realize there were like there's hidden requests.
right.
So I went into the hidden request. It was like well over 20 messages. I was like, oh shoot, I better respond to some of these because some of them are like inappropriate or whatnot. And
Oh yeah.
um, but to the ones that seem genuine, like people will tell me about the things that they're going through, and I always say, hey, if you need someone to talk to, I'm willing to listen. I may not relate to the situation you may be going through, but somebody like always needs someone to have a listening ear, and that's what I want to do, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I welcome any type of message as long as it's positive, positivity driven, or just like if they need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
So
So what are the handles on I'm assuming Instagram and Twitter slash X, whatever you want to call it?
just Junior Kaleopa. So JuniorKaleopa. I'm the only one in the world.
Yeah. And
I'm really proud to say that.
yeah, and for the well, and I would imagine that I'm the only Peter Bonasak as well. Like you Google me, it's probably going to be like mostly stuff that popped up for a bunch of my episodes and interviews. But yeah, for those that like do go into show notes, like I'll include your handle so that way they can just click on it and subscribe to
Cool.
you or follow you if they haven't already. So, yeah, appreciate the time, Junior, and I look forward to seeing more stuff. And I hope this does bring like awareness to some people who may have some doubts. If there's people that are willing to listen, if you're willing to open up, like I
Right.
hope that's something that they can take away from this conversation. Again, I thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Um,
appreciate
so.
that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, you stand by, but thank you for anyone that's checking this out, especially if this is your first episode and you wanted to hear some people talk about some mental health, some personal stuff, family related. And I'll try to look for a phone number to also put in the show notes if you need a resource, a website, a phone number to call to kind of seek help. So, again, thank you guys for your continued support in what I do, and I'll see you guys all later.